Building my business has been one of the most stretching journeys of my life. I can't lie, I've been enjoying the journey. I'm learning so many things, but it has stretched my faith in a way that I did not expect. It has increased my capacity in a way that I have never experienced before, and it has caused me to rely on God even more. It has improved my relationship with God, if I'm honest. And this is what I want to share with you today, everything that God has been teaching me on this journey of building my business. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Teresa, and on this channel, I'm documenting life in my 30s as I navigate faith, life, and become everything God has created me to be. So, I create content around faith, entrepreneurship, lifestyle, purpose. And if this is kind of your thing, stick around, stay around, hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell so that you can be notified every time I drop a new video. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here again. Thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate that. So let's get right into what God has been teaching me. So, for those of you who don't know, I run a business called Unique Publishing, which is a boutique publishing agency that helps leaders, experts package their expertise into nonfiction books. I help people write, publish, and launch profitable books that builds their legacy, increases their impact, and also gives them income. So, with writing, I've been writing since 2016. I used to blog from 2016 to 2020, probably around there. So I used to be a blogger, but I wrote my first book in 2018, and then I got my first client in 2019 right after I wrote my first book. So business wise, I've been doing this business of helping people publish their books for a while, since 2019, but really started taking it seriously in 2024, where I decided that I'm going to be intentional about building this business that God has given me. So within this almost 2 years now, since when I started till now, I have learned so many things on my journey of becoming a proper business owner and really building this business with God. And I want to share those things with you today. So the first lesson that God has been teaching me, especially in this season of my life, is focus. It is so easy to get distracted by what everyone else is doing. You can go on Instagram or on TikTok and you can look through what other business owners are doing, what lead magnets they're using, or the kind of content that they create, or the kind of things that they're doing, events that they're hosting. And it can be easy to get distracted from your own goals and your own purpose, because you want the next best thing. You want to be among, to belong to what others are doing, right? Or or even you want people to notice you and to see you and to celebrate you and things like that. And that in itself is not bad, but if you're focusing on what everybody else is doing, you don't have the energy to put into your own thing, to your own business, and to lean into what God is telling you to do. So God is teaching me to be focused on my own journey and stay on my lane, even if it doesn't look like what other people are doing. Everybody's journey is unique. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't learn from other people or we can't learn from other people. No, that's not what I'm saying. Personally, I've had a coach who really helped me when I started being intentional about my business. So I'm all for learning from others. But if you're listening to every single voice, to every single thing, and looking at what everybody else is doing, you're just distracting yourself, because your energy is being distributed around multiple things that don't necessarily have any value towards what you're building, right? And the thing about focus is it helps to direct your attention, to direct your energy into the thing that actually brings you results, which is something else that I'm learning, that busyness is not equal to fruitfulness. Because you can be busy doing everything all at once. You can be busy looking at what everybody else is doing. This person is telling you this is the way you should create content, these are the hooks you're supposed to use, and this other person is telling you this is what you should do for emails. Actually ignore social media, focus on emails. Another person is telling you no, you should have long form content, do YouTube, do a podcast. Like, There's so many voices out there, so many voices. And if you don't focus on what God is showing you for your own business, for your own journey, for your own purpose, you'll just be wasting your time. You'll also be wasting your creativity because you won't have any original idea. You can't sit still long enough for you to think and be creative for yourself, by yourself, with God's leading, right? God can't even speak to you because you're busy listening to everybody else but not even following through on what you already have as a plan. So that's one thing that God is teaching me, is to stay in my lane and focus. The second thing that God is teaching me in this season is to shorten the time between idea and execution. Okay? So ideas are come a dime a dozen. Everybody can have good ideas. The thing that separates the people who succeed from those who don't is executing. So the time that you take from when you get an idea to when you actually execute it, if you leave it so long, then you won't actually execute. And I'll give you an example. I like to think things through. I want to cover all my bases before I follow through on something or pursue something, right? So I enjoy research mode. I get an idea, I go straight into research mode and research, and think about, oh, I can do this and I can do this and I can do that. And then what ends up happening is all the research and the ideas that come from the research, when I look at it later, it's just overwhelming. It feels like too much. Then I look at the work that is required to actually execute all these things that I said I'm going to do after all the research that I've done. And I just feel defeated immediately. Then what happens is I don't end up doing anything at all because, I'm trying to make it perfect. I'm trying to cover all my bases before I can execute. And then I end up not executing at all. So, what God is teaching me right now is to shorten that time between idea and execution. And I don't mean ignore excellence or don't give it your best shot or don't learn what you can about it, but I mean, don't overwhelm yourself and try to make everything perfect and try to cover all your bases from the beginning before you execute. Things don't have to be perfect before you execute. When you get an idea or when you get an instruction from God about doing something, just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. Which brings me to the third thing that God is teaching me: progress is better than perfection. So, like I said, your idea doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to know everything. And that's why we're people of faith, because our whole journey is on the basis that we don't know everything. We walk by faith and not by sight. We don't know what the end will look like, but we know the one who knows the end from the beginning. And we have to trust in him. So focus more on progress instead of perfection, because waiting for perfection will slow you down and it will waste your time. Another thing that God is teaching me as I'm building my business right now is how to use my voice. Honestly, I have spent so long shying away and being afraid of speaking out, of sharing my story, of sharing what I do, sharing about my business. And this trickles into marketing and selling, because sometimes we think sales, they're sleazy and just weird and you don't want to rub people the wrong way and things like that. And so what you end up doing is hiding your light, and that is a place where I'd been stuck for so long, but not anymore. God is really teaching me to use my voice and let my light so shine. That's what scripture says: let your light so shine so that others may see your good work and glorify your Father in heaven. So if you hide, if you don't speak, if you don't share what you're doing, you're hiding your light. And scripture also says that, will someone light a lamp, then put it under the bed, or hide it inside a basket or under a basket? No, that doesn't make any sense. You have this thing that you're doing, this gift that you have, or this solution that you're providing to people who actually need it. But instead of sharing that with them, of sharing it with people who need it, you're hiding it. You're putting that gift in a basket, you're hiding it under the bed. And that makes absolutely no sense. And that is what I'm learning right now. My obedience, my voice, my actions, they're tied to somebody else's breakthrough. There are people out there who have been wanting to write books, or maybe God has even instructed them that they need to write books. And God has prepared me and has given me the gift and the knowledge and the skills to help them achieve that. But what am I doing? I'm hiding from sharing that. And so they're struggling to fulfill what God is telling them, while I have the solution for them. So none of that anymore. I am determined to use my voice, to not be shy, to not be quiet, to carry my business on my head, speak about it, share it, and let everybody know what God is doing in and through me, right? And so I'm really paying attention to using my voice in this season of my life. So that's another lesson that God is teaching me right now. The last but not the least thing that God is teaching me in this season of my life is seed time and harvest time. That is the principle in life. There are different seasons in your life. There's always seed time when you plant the seed, and there's harvest time when you harvest from what you had planted. The thing is, harvest doesn't come immediately after you plant the seed. And sometimes where you plant the seed is not necessarily where you get the harvest. And so this is how this applies to my business. The things that I'm doing right now, the content I'm making, the programs I'm running, the all the effort pretty much that I'm pouring into my business, which are the seeds that I'm planting for my business to flourish later on, right? It doesn't mean that I will see the results immediately, but I have to trust that there will be a season of harvest. That even if right now things don't look like the way I want them to look, I'm not running a $1 million, $1 billion business as I would like to, or I'm not having the number of clients that I desire to have, and things like that. I have to trust and believe that the seeds that I'm planting will later on bring out a harvest, right? So even if it doesn't look like it right now, I need to have faith that that is what it will be in the future, because times and seasons, right? So I can't just stop planting seeds, stop pouring into my business and all of that just because I'm not seeing the results immediately, or I'm not seeing the harvest immediately. That is a wrong mentality to have. Scripture says that we should not despise the days of little beginnings, the days of humble beginnings, because God delights to see us as we start, as we begin, as we build. You know, one thing that I've learned over the years and I've heard so often is that if the light outside of you is brighter than the light within you, it will destroy you. Meaning that if you have the platform that you desire, or the number of clients, or like an overwhelming light, the attention, the visibility on you, but within you, you have not been built up, you don't have that capacity to handle all of that, it will destroy you. And I think God is very wise. God is very wise to create the seed time and the harvest time, because sometimes we need that time to grow. It's like planting a seed for a tree, right? You plant a small seed and it grows to become a big, big tree, to have deep roots so that it can stand tall and strong. And then, the tree will grow and it will bear fruit and people will eat from that. And it's the same thing with us. We plant the seeds and the seeds will take deep root and they will grow. And as that happens, we are also growing. I'm really enjoying the person I'm becoming as I'm building this business. I'm growing, my capacity is increasing. I'm growing in boldness. I'm growing in wisdom. I'm growing in my knowledge of God and just my faith. I'm growing in every aspect, not just the business, right? And so God uses this time to prepare us for the blessings that we're expecting, right? Which also leads me to say that yes, there's seed time and there's harvest time, but even as you're waiting the harvest, you're awaiting the increase. Prepare for what you're praying for, prepare for what you're believing God for. If you're believing God that your business is going to grow, you're going to serve thousands of people, do you have the systems in place to do that? Do you have the capacity to do that? So if you're truly expecting that from God, build the systems, increase your capacity. Scripture says that faith without works is dead. Yes, you have faith that there will be increase, but where are your works? Where are the systems that you're building? Where are the plans that you're making towards that thing that you say you're expecting, right? I talk a lot more about increasing your capacity and what you should do to increase your capacity in a different video. I will link it somewhere there, or you can even check the description. I will link it there. I speak a lot about increasing your capacity because I think it is very, very important to do. You have to do the work, right? As you wait for the harvest, keep pouring, keep planting the seed, keep watering it, keep growing, keep increasing your capacity, and really preparing for what you say you're trusting God for. So, yes, the lessons are not always easy, they're not always comfortable, but they're shaping me and refining me and growing me into the person that God has created me to be, to the person that will be able to handle the kind of blessing and responsibility that God has for me. So I want to encourage you, if you're in a season of building, I'm building a business, maybe for you it's not building a business, whatever it is that you're building in your life, if you're on that journey, lean into it. It's uncomfortable, yes, it may be challenging, but it is refining you, it is causing you to grow. So lean into those lessons, lean into what God is saying, and never ever ever give up. No matter how challenging it gets, don't give up. Hold on to God, hold on to his word, hold on to his promises. Okay, let me know in the comments which of these lessons resonated with you the most, or even what God is teaching you in this season of your life. And if you've ever felt like you've been called to write a book, to share your story, to share a message, please send me an email, send me a DM. I will leave the link in the description. Let us know. It's Unique Publishing. This is what we do. We help you bring your story out. We help you reach the people that God has sent you to reach, to package your story, your expertise into a book that increases your impact, your legacy, and your income. Okay. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you once again for coming back. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.